Remember, if you're not used to sitting on the floor, we're going to sit still for an hour. It can be pretty intense. So, how many people are here for the first time? Oh, more than lots of new folks. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do a guided meditation. How's it going? Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. We're going to do a guided meditation for an hour. You're invited to follow along, but also, you take care of you. If you want to do a different meditation and just enjoy the energy of the room, that's great. I just ask that, you stay still and quiet. But whatever else you're doing in your own interiority, fine. After an hour of meditation, then I will give a brief talk, and then after that we'll bring a microphone around. And where is that microphone? You've got it, okay. And see if you have anything you want to ask or share or discuss or, I don't know, yell at me about or something. Who knows? I'm open to anything. So we'll do that, and then at the very, very, very end, we will do about 5 minutes of truly silent meditation. Okay? So with that, I'm going to drink some more tea and then invite us all to begin. How are you guys liking the getting up and down off the floor and rolling around thing? Okay, let's do it. So we're going to do some movement. Your body is your body, so take care of your body. But what I'm going to invite you to do is get up and down on the floor, up and down off the floor. And when you're on the floor, roll around. Thank you, Sam. Roll around in whatever way you want. This is completely open form, but it's important that you get up and back down and then roll around in whatever way you want, and then get back up again and then back down. So it's a big part of it is getting up and down off the floor. It's very free form. You don't have to do it any particular way. What we've learned is that one of the main symptoms of getting real old is you can't get up and down off the floor anymore. So learning to practice getting up and down off the floor is really good for you. You might think that's mixing up correlation and causation, but no, getting up and down off the floor is good exercise. Okay. Thank you for joining me in that. Then we'll just do some quick up stretching to open up our rib cage. Get as much space as you can in your ribs. Breathe deep. Keep breathing while it's up. Don't just hold your breath. And then open up the side and breathe into that space. Remember, this meditation is all about spaciousness, and so getting spaciousness in our actual physical body really helps. And then in front, shake out your arms, shake everything out in whatever way you want. Shake, shake, shake. There you go. Really shake. And then we'll do some simhasana. I want to see really vigorous, really energized. Let's do some energy, right? That was pretty good. Let's do a second one just for fun. Okay, very good. This is, Vajrayana, this is Tantra, so one of the most important aspects is just straight up energy, right? Or empowerment. So bring up the power, right? Bring up the energy. There's wisdom in there, there's love in there, but the third aspect is power or energy. So we work on our energy. Someone who is, good at Vajrayana is called a siddha, right? Siddha. It's the same thing in Nondual Shaiva Tantra. And siddha literally means like having power, but it also means that, accomplishment. But we never forget that one of the aspects besides the wisdom of openness and the depth of love, that we want to also just have energy, right? Have energy straight from the source. So let's, on that note, let's do a little bit of pranayama. This is important that you adjust this to work for you. Everybody's body is really, really different. We'll start doing some Bhastrika for a little while, and don't strain yourself in any way. Don't do more than you feel comfortable with. I'm going to do a very medium rate. You can do faster or slower. And I'll go on for a little while, but if it's too much, feel free to stop or at least pause, okay? Everybody know what Bhastrika is? It's like this. Okay? So I'm doing that medium. We could go really slow or really fast. So I'll set a medium pace. You do whatever works for you. Ready? Let's go. Okay, just pause for a minute. Notice that my shoulders aren't moving at all. It's not like a jerk kind of thing. You're just using your abdomen. And so try not to do huge movements. It doesn't require huge movements. And also, it's real even. If it's hard to do even, then slow down. And then the third thing is, we can do a seed syllable when we're doing this, right? Like, so if you want, we'll use the seed syllable hum in our minds, right? So hum, 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 hum. You don't have to do that, but that's there if you want to kind of focus. I recommend focusing. If your belly is really needing some, regulation, then you can focus on your belly while you're doing it. If the Bhastrika is really easy, focus on your third eye instead. Okay? One more round of this. Very good. Now just rest for a moment. Feel how that feels in your body. If you weren't warmed up before, you're probably warmed up now. And then let's, as usual, do some alternate nostril breathing for a few minutes. If you know how to do that already, just go ahead and do it. If you don't, then make your hand like this with these two middle fingers together. And then you put your right thumb closing your right nostril. breathe in through the left, a full breath. Then close the left and open the right, breathe out the right. Then breathe in the right. Then close the right, breathe out the left. Please do it sitting up straight. And then we just continue like that. In one side, out the other, in the other, and then back out the first. Keep going. So when we're doing the Bhastrika, that's raising energy. And then when we are doing the alternate nostril breathing, it's regulating the energy so that we're not just becoming amped up, but rather we're having more energy in the system, but it's being, let's say, distributed in a more harmonious manner throughout the system. Make sure you end on a left nostril out breath. And then, given that we are working with energy empowerment, let's go ahead and do a few minutes of chanting of the seed syllable I was suggesting, which is HUM. If you were to spell this in English, it would be something like HOOM. It's really more like HUM. It's not an M sound, it's more like a up in your nose. But HUM is good enough. So join with me here as we always do. Good. Now, as usual, I invite you to set your thinking mind aside for the rest of the meditation. You don't really need to control it or change it or try to police it in any way. or make it go away or anything like that. We're just not going to engage with it. So we set that aside. And again, if you want to, you can do it as an actual gesture. Take your thinking mind like a box or like a toaster or something and just set it over here. Poop. It's still on, it's still working, it's still doing its thing, where it's just over there. So now we're left here in presence, right? Because if we're not involved in all the conceptuality of the thinking mind, then we're simply resting in presence, right? We're in this room. Feeling our bodies, feeling our feelings, noticing the sounds, and if your eyes are open, the sights of where we are. And what I want to invite you to explore here at the very beginning is simply resting in presence, not changing anything. The thinking mind is set aside, and so we're in this natural, easy presence. And so let's simply rest here for a little while, allowing everything to be exactly the way it is. Outside of the thinking mind, you don't get too much of the, I want my body to be different, I want my mind to be different, I want my emotions to be different, I want my situation to be different. We've set all that aside, and instead we're just awake and alive with a loving heartbeat and a beautiful, open awareness. So we let go of all that kind of aggressive, I must change myself stance, and instead simply rest in wide awake, wide open presence. Metaphorically, let's sit like a lake. A deep, deep, very clear, beautiful lake. It's tremendously fresh and very, very relaxed. And if you find yourself re-engaging with thinking, which is pretty normal, just let go. Let it do whatever it's going to do, but don't engage. If you find yourself falling asleep, sit up straight, open your eyes, don't fall asleep. notice that it actually takes zero effort to be present. You're already present just by being alive. What takes a bunch of effort is being all lost in thought and thinking this and going after that and trying to change this and, getting all involved like that. When we let go of that involvement with thought, we're just back to the given. We're back to just being. It doesn't take any effort to just be. There's no technique to just being. There's no way to get it wrong. Maybe many of us have a kind of attitude of, am I existing correctly? Do I get to exist? Am I allowed to exist like this? And of course, yes, you're allowed to exist like this. Existence just is the way it is. And it's only when we're lost in the thinking mind that we imagine we're going to change it. Very good. So you can either continue doing that, or if you'd like, you can notice the quality of openness and spaciousness that's available in this just being. Being all caught up in thought is very constrained and tight and small, but when we're not caught up in thought, what's the natural state is just wide open. We don't have to make it open, it's just naturally spacious, it's naturally vast, without any effort. So I invite you to notice or affirm or rest in this openness, this spaciousness. That takes no effort. You don't have to make it spacious. It just is that way. And if you want to, you can, as usual, sort of very gently notice your breath coming and going. So we're not doing a breath meditation, we're not focused on breathing, but in our sitting here in simple presence, natural, spontaneous openness, if you want to, you can just pay a little extra attention to breathing, and that will be kind of a nice thing to be with. So let's do this together quietly for a little while. Each time you find yourself all caught up in thought, just let it go and come back to just resting in open presence, simple, spontaneous naturalness. It's what's there if you quit trying to manipulate and control. It's just always right there. Very good. Now, if you're enjoying that and feel good there, you can continue with that. If, on the other hand, you'd like to try something quite a bit more challenging, but worth it, then I'm going to suggest the following. Continuing to sit in just presence, just naturalness. Remember, there's no way to do that. That's not a technique. That's just what happens when you let go of all technique. Continuing to sit that way. I want you to tune in again to all that thought activity that you set aside. But don't engage with any of it. You're not trying to change it, you're not trying to control it, you're not really getting involved, but you're aware of the activity. So it's a very interesting balancing act where you're just letting your mind do whatever it wants. Complete hands off, no control. You're not trying to make it make sense, you're not trying to make it be clear, you're not trying to make it anything. You're just simply staying awake to it. Staying clear about its activity with a total hands-off policy about the activity itself. You're just letting it be. So give that a shot, and if that's too difficult, meaning you keep grabbing on and getting involved and trying to change it and control it, then come back to just being with breathing and totally disengaged from thought. But here, we're doing a thing of not changing our mind at all. It gets to be whatever it wants. And what are we doing? We're simply very awake to that. So give that a shot. Again, if you notice yourself getting caught up in thinking, just relax, come back to simply being present, open, spacious, natural, easy. And if you want to, you can be really awake to the dance of the mind, the flowing, pulsating, swirling dance of thought activity without trying to change it, but also without being caught up in it. You're staying wide awake to it. Notice that this spacious, open awakeness is very stable, it's very still, it's very peaceful, and it's very, very clear and bright and awake. And in its vast, spacious, open awakeness, there's just these little swirling clouds of thought activity that are being seen, but not really engaged with. And the more we do this, the more you can relax into this presence. Relax into being the space. Just be the space. It's not something we have to pretend or imagine. It's what we are. Our nature is cognizant emptiness. It's spacious awakeness. Stay wide awake to what's going on there. It might be sometimes a little disconcerting because we want thoughts to make sense and we want the mind to be clear and understandable. But when we meditate like this, we're tuning into deep, deep, deep levels of the unconscious sometimes, and those might be unclear or confused or cloudy or swirling or nonsense-like or non-linear. And that's okay. That's what they're like. Just let them be that way. Let the mind activity be exactly the way it is. Do not interfere. Stay awake, stay present. Notice if you get involved in the thinking, it's like you fall asleep. You're in a little dream for a minute. A little tiny micro daydream. So just wake back up. The thoughts get to do whatever they want, but we're going to stay wide awake. We're not going to get lost in the dream. We're lucid thinking here. Very good. Now, if you want to, you can continue doing that. But I invite you to simply let go of focusing on anything and simply be the awakeness. Awakeness is not something you can focus on. It's what's focusing. It's what's awake. You can't look at it or make it an object of attention. You can just be it. So without taking any object of attention, just rest in awakeness, continuously awake in this natural, open, spacious presence. If you think you're looking at awakeness, that's just an idea. Let go of that. Just be the awakeness. You can't help it. As I said, awake space is your true nature. Just be aware of that. Not involved with thought, and not trying to focus on anything. Simply being wide awake. Are you awake? Are you lost in thought? Come back, if you are, to just being awake. It's easy to do. You're naturally awake. Naturally wide open. From the depths of this spacious clarity and luminosity and brightness of our awake nature, let's allow the seed syllable HUM to arise again. Remembering that the seed syllable HUM dispels all delusion, it dispels all ignorance, it dispels all grasping, it dispels all reification, and returns us to wisdom, which is the wisdom of awake space. Our nature is openness and kindness. Let's do this together for a few minutes. Om. Good. So in a moment, we'll end the meditation, but before we do that, I invite you to notice that the awake space is not going to go away. You didn't create or imagine or somehow construct or fabricate or in any way generate awake space. That's what you are. All we did for a moment was attempt to not be distracted from that, which is our normal state. We're very distracted away from our nature. But it's always there because it's our nature. So even when we're done meditating, it will still be there. Anytime you choose to let go of being super lost in some kind of fantasy, you can just come back to this awake space that's very open, very awake, very loving, warm, kind. So just as we transition into not meditating, notice that that doesn't go away. It's always there. So let's end the meditation there. And then come back for a minute and just notice it's still there. The awake space doesn't, it's not like, oh, yep, my special state is gone. Well, it wasn't a special state. It's still there, still awake, still wide open. Now, if you were doing the middle part of the meditation where we were just allowing the mind to do whatever the mind wants to do, that's a very interesting way of working. Most of us, tend to think we are our minds. We're very identified with the content of the mind. What in a way, what I'm thinking is me is sort of the idea of our normal conception of it. And instead, what we start to notice as we do that technique more and more is that we are not the contents of our mind at all. Right? It's just doing what it's doing. And it's not that, of course we're non-dually, non-separate. We're not somehow separate from the contents of our mind, but it does not define us. And in fact, what's interesting is, if anything, we're more the space in which it all occurs. The awakeness and the theater in which gives it the room to happen. Right, in a way, the frame, the frameless frame that allows it to do its thing. And so there's a real freedom in just coming out of our sock puppet identity as our thoughts and just relaxing and, hey, not my circus, not my monkeys. The monkeys get to do whatever they want. Let them do their thing. And it can be very freeing and very relaxing. But there might be, at first, some discomfort with that. If you're used to identifying as the content of your thinking, then when you just let it do its thing, that can be a little upsetting. Like it can sound crazy. It can sound very irrational or very nonlinear, or just plain nonsense. Like it's not even it's just gobbledygook. Or a bunch of dream images, or maybe disturbing images, or maybe beautiful images. It can be a lot of things because we're not controlling it. And what's so fascinating there is, again, at first you're like, oh no, that's me. I'm all those horrible things, or I'm all that confusion, or I'm all that nonsense, or whatever. But of course, that's all down in there all the time anyway. That's always going on. And we just tend to keep a lid on it. And that keeping a lid on it creates a dualistic division within us, number one. And of course, it's non-dually, non-separate all the time. But furthermore, it starts to twist it, and things get a little... When we separate it and put a lid on it, it gets pressurized, right? And so the stuff in there starts to get twisty. The springs get wound up because we're applying pressure. And so this meditation is just letting go of all the pressure. And so at first, as you might imagine, it can be a little, whoa, I let go, and now the thing's, woo. There's a lot of stored up energy in there. But the more you just sit and be the space and let the energy just do its thing, eventually it starts to regulate itself and just come back to some kind of naturalness and some kind of ease and spontaneity and even playfulness, and there's a kind of in the unconstricted, unconstrained, unconstructed, unfabricated, spontaneous mind. There's a lot of energy and a lot of joy. It's really got that thing. It's happy to be awake. And so if you can allow yourself to go through sort of the slight discomfort zone of like, whoa, that seems really crazy or really nonsense, or it's like I'm in a dream or something for a minute, which, might last for a while. It's a minute that might last quite a while. Eventually you start coming to this place where you just feel really, really natural, right? Your mind just feels really like some kind of, mountain, forest, lake that no person has ever seen before. It's just pristine, and it's just doing its thing. And it's absolutely fresh and clean and beautiful in all its weirdness, So there's a way that we can begin to utterly accept our own mind and befriend our mind all the way to the bottom, So the usual method is to sort of like, I'm going to make a clean room. I'm going to banish all the bad stuff and kind of like shove it down into the basement, and then make this one part of my mind that's safe and clean. And it's like, it turns out that doesn't really work. Right? The stuff in the basement always will come up and eat the clean room eventually. It devours it. And so instead we're going to just befriend all of it. And we befriend it again by just giving it space. Everything just needs space to exist, right? Just room to be. And if there's enough room, there's a kind of immense energy and joy in that. And our being is that room. That's what it is. It's room for things to be. So I'll end that there and just see if anyone wants to say anything. If you have comments, or you have, sort of inquiry coming up, or you want to say something, then raise your hand and Faiza will bring a microphone to you. As usual, remember, we're beaming this live to the internet. So if somebody, makes a comment about what you said or whatever, that's on the internet. And furthermore, please remember mindfulness of speech.
I have some questions. Why did you ask the artist how many layers there were to home?
Because art is cool. And I make art. I live with an artist. She's at an art opening tonight. I'm watching someone make paintings and drawings and stuff all day long. And plus I do some of my own stuff. The material's interesting. So it wasn't a conceptual question like how many layers of concepts or anything like that. It was just about the wonder, and that's vibrata, by the way, and the artist is vibrata. So it's just a materials question because it's interesting. It's like saying, what paint did you use? What kind of paint?
It was like this beautiful marble bouncing around in my mind, like layers. Because you're coming from the meat suit, it's almost like there's layers of stillness. And I don't want to go to some of the deeper ones sometimes.
Yeah,
Because
well, give it time. Yeah, give it time. There's no hurry.
The world drops away.
Yeah. It's the thing is, it's doing that all the time. And a huge part of our angst, a huge part of our tension, a huge part of our neurotic fixation is to try to focus on something so we don't notice that it keeps dropping away. And so freedom and joy and fullness and richness is to go, let it drop away. It'll come right back. Don't worry.
Will it though?
Yeah, well, find out. But as a teacher, I will say, yes, it will. And so that fear that if it drops away, it'll never come back, it'll come right back. But you got to just go, ah. It's like one of those trust exercises. Fall backwards over and over again until you love falling backwards, because you will. It's like total freedom. Back in it. So even though it's scary, don't be afraid. Nothing bad will happen, except everything will disappear. Totally.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So when you were talking about not being associated with thoughts, I was able to do that. And then I found myself associating with sensations in my body, which I usually do. And then I stopped doing that as well. And then at some point, something new happened to me, which was not exactly out of body experience, but when you say you're not content of your thoughts, at some point I became not the content of my body either.
Okay.
But at that point I ran out of things to let go of. It's not like I still experienced my whole thing, but it was almost a physiological process that takes care of itself.
Sure.
But
Almost like that.
And but at that point, I kind of ran out of things to let go of.
Okay.
Got excited and got right back.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Is there any?
Let go of needing to find another thing to let go of. Let go of doing that and just rest. And you're right, you'll get excited and then you'll do it again and then you'll get excited and then you'll do it again and you'll get excited. But after the 10,000th time, you won't be excited anymore. You'll just rest there. And that's better than getting excited about it. Okay? Thanks, Oleg. All the talkers are clustered right here. Okay.
Hi, Michael.
Hi.
I kept trying to practice the death sangha at night.
Mm-hmm.
That when I felt very detached, like actually went through the last breath practice, and it was very, like, I've never experienced that before, and that kind of detachment created a lot of clarity, and that felt really, really, really amazing.
Good.
And so
Could you do it again tonight?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. I say yes because I kept like meditate, try to be there, like guide myself, like okay, last 3 breaths, and then try to have your voice in my head and to be there again. But it's really hard to.
Just fall backwards.
What does that mean? Like I know physically.
It's just another way. It's another way of working with it. But you know, whatever thing is trying to do something, that just stop.
Yeah.
Because any trying to do something is actually hanging on, and so just don't do anything. And then the hole will open up.
Yeah. Follow-up question is, I tried to not think about it and be there, and then like maybe for like an hour, and then looking back I'm like I still didn't get there because I feel like maybe something is missing. Maybe it was because you were guiding or some external voice that led me there instead of me just doing nothing. And then I don't know if I will ever be there, so I'm just.
Well, that's what's really there all the time. So it's happening right now all the time. It's not a special state. It's not a thing you earn or construct or a place you get. Nothing like that. It's always there. You just relax and don't grab on. And then you'll start to sink into the quicksand. And then, okay. But remember, it doesn't require not having thoughts. It just requires not grabbing onto them. So there can be a ton of thinking happening. But who cares? It's just the raccoons fighting in your backyard.
I think I kind of got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. The raccoons fighting the cats or whatever. Yeah.
All the talkers are next to each other. I had more of a comment, maybe a question. Some of us were on a death and dying retreat here 2 weeks ago, I think.
Oh, with Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche?
Yeah.
What does that guy know?
And then I did the similar retreat with him online a week before, also on death and dying. And it's really interesting because his sangha is more mature, meaning there are a lot of practitioners in their 80s and 90s. And they were sharing these experiences of like onset of dementia and Alzheimer's, or like the partners are kind of like disappearing in terms of their mental faculties, but at the same time they're all practitioners.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of like, I almost cried. There was like so much sweetness and compassion in the way they were like describing these experiences, like not even being able to control and like clean up that room, or like not being able to concentrate, or like even like remember practices of the mantras, yet like the awakeness is still there.
The awakeness is still awake.
And it was just incredibly sweet, like, and also like very healing just to see that.
I was mentioning this in a class the other day that Shinzen always talks about one time where he was had to take care of a very, very old Zen master. So when he was living in Japan, and a Zen master who had dementia. You know, he was like 80 or 90 and had really bad dementia, but was a Zen master. And so Shinzen was like, yeah, he's hanging out in the awakeness. He did fine. He's used to not having his mind work, you know. And so even though it doesn't mean he can remember stuff, it doesn't mean he can, do, but he's not upset about it, right? He can sit there and be fine. It's really interesting. it's something that does relate to us. I mean, we might all have to work with dementia at some point, so it's very relevant in that sense, but also it's relevant even now, even if you're, very young, in that, again, we really work really hard to try to keep our mind organized and clear. And it's like, just let go of that. It will organize itself if you quit trying to corral it, and it organizes itself in a different way. And it's very, very, again, it's like, we don't want to impose from the top down. So I would just say, the old adage, like, if you die before you die, all that. It's like, get dementia before you get dementia. Just joking. Okay, thanks for sharing that. I think Angelina's next.
I was wondering, this is potentially a report, potentially a question, but usually the question is just like, am I doing it? Am I okay?
You're always doing it wrong. We'll just, just rested that.
Confirmed.
Yeah.
I've been working with this mind as path practice. It's been interesting. And I've been noticing that the way that I usually sort of picture my mind as like being like up here, it's like this little like ticker tape or like thing that's like stored up in here. Like it's just like totally like just distributed everywhere. Like there's like thoughts in my toes and like everywhere, and then it's like it's not even in my body. Like there's just like thoughts
Yeah, it turns out
everywhere.
they're either happening everywhere or maybe kind of nowhere.
Yeah. And then they just sort of turn into like
Sometimes you're in the machine code.
yeah, and then there's like this thing that's like just wants to like keep on it's like there's no actual thing, but then it's like like it like wants to keep on going.
Sure. Your liver does its thing, and your stomach does its thing, and your brain does its thing. Just keeps going.
Yeah, so I guess I don't have dementia. I noticed that the more I let go, the more like energy I feel.
Yeah. So right, I said it's a lot of energy
really,
in there.
It's really intense.
Yeah.
But then that creates this, like I like want to do something with that. And so then like all of it's like everything like congeals around it again.
Yeah, so your ego wants to own the energy, but
Yeah.
it can't. And so notice that the energy it's not just like, I don't know, electricity. It's like, comes with its own instructions. It wants to do something. It's like, it's its own affordance or so. I don't know how to say it, but it just relax. It already wants to do something. That energy's not there just in kind of a neutral way. It's there with its own readiness to do.
Well, then how do I differentiate the
Because
thing
it's not going like that.
Well, sometimes it doesn't feel like that. Sometimes it does feel like a natural effulgence, and it's like, and I feel my body moving to do that thing.
Yeah.
How do I know that that's not my ego being like, I should do that thing?
Well, you're describing the difference. There's a natural effulgence that just kind of does stuff, and then there's a different thing where something grabs onto it, and now it's like a gear shift knob, and it's doing stuff. It's a very different flavor. It's not hard to know the difference.
That feels sort of hard to trust, or like I've been told that I shouldn't just do that.
You should just do that.
But then it's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can just go and be crazy.
Yeah, because it's not. It's the whole idea that we're doing, taking rational action based on idea. This is a total fantasy. I'm sure you've read 1,000 studies about that. It's a total fantasy. What's really happening is affordances, and we're just doing stuff. Right? It's all spontaneous. It's just let go of the tight thing that's pretending to control it.
Still feels like there's something that really wants to do it.
Yeah. Wants to control it?
No, wants to do the thing. Like,
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
wants to use the energy.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's this is what I'm saying. The energy has its own agenda. Let it rock on. Just go for it.
All right. Well, then watch out.
We will be watching.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Thank you. This is the thing. We can trust our nature. Our nature is basically good and basically kind and basically sane. Vibrata, did you have a question also? Let's just do one more.
You said at one point during the meditation, you sort of invited us to not engage. And just to comment about
Not
that.
engage with the thinking
Yeah.
process. Yeah.
Just to comment about that, because it's such a wonderful opportunity to stop and question what's doing the engaging.
Yep.
And just be with that question for a little while you're in that space. It's
Right. Exactly.
Really
And
nice.
notice the over and over again. Right?
Wait a minute, what's engaging with what? It's
Mhm.
really lovely.
Just look into that directly.
Yeah.
Not as right? Just notice. Very good. Thank you, Vibrata. Thank you for microphone service. Faiza. All right, as promised, silent meditation for 1 hour. Okay. Thank you, everybody. A couple quick things. Remember, on Saturday there will be my partner, Christina Lazar, will be leading Alligator Lizards in the Air, which is art integration. So whether it's meditation integration or psychedelic experience integration or dream integration, whatever, if you're having some stuff you want to work with and you want to, in a very fun, playful way, get out the art toys and work with it, that's happening Saturday at 1 here at Alembic. And what else? As usual, remember December 12th to the 19th, we'll be having I'll be leading a retreat at Mount Madonna. So if you want to spend 8 days doing like the kind of stuff we do in here, ask me about that or look it up online and I'll show you more about it and we can see if you want to come to that. It's kind of a wonderful place to practice and a wonderful opportunity to practice together. Other than that, if you wouldn't mind picking up all the stuff and putting it over there, I thought it makes it easier on the staff. And then after that, feel free to hang out in the lobby and talk to people about meditation and stuff. Okay? Thanks, everybody. Oh, yeah, one last thing. This year, so I always teach on Thursday night, right? This year, Christmas is on Thursday, and New Year's is on Thursday, and everything's on a Thursday. And but Tuesdays have recently become open. So I think what we're going to do, this has all sort of been approved, but isn't in the calendar yet. I think just before, and it's also Thanksgiving too, right, is a Thursday. So I think just before Thanksgiving, I'll teach on Thursday, just before, on Tuesday. Just before Christmas, I'll teach on Tuesday. Just before New Year's, I'll teach on Tuesday. So there'll be a couple weeks in there where I'm doing Tuesdays. Okay? So if you want to stay alert to the calendar, because there'll be some time switching. Okay? I wouldn't want to not come here and sit with you guys. All right. Bye, everybody.